Hi guys, I want to do a video today about wheel hop and hopefully how I've cured it. So wheel hop, if you're not sure, is basically when you start to lose traction with the back wheel and then it starts bouncing, and if you put your foot down it gets worse. It's absolutely horrible feeling, and so it goes through the car and knocks your fillings out. So back in the day, back in the 90s, I had a set of oil-filled shocks like that one. And around 1998, I upgraded them to some KYB GR2s, which I believe are now called XLGs in the black. I think they're the same thing, don't quote me. But back in the day, I remember them being pretty hard. So they turned the car from being soft in the corners to being nice and firm in the corners, but also made it quite a harsh ride. So if you fast forward now 20 years forwards, the same KYBs went back on. So I had them on the shelf all that time. That's all I had at the time, and they went on, and they felt soft. Now I don't think the dampers are degraded at all, because they've just been sat there. However, just the additional weight of the motor and stuff on the back of the car, and they felt how I remember them feeling, which is nice and soft and gooey. However, there was the wheel hop issue. So to cure that, I've actually ended up buying a set of ProTech dampers. I think there's quite a few options out there. The gas ones I think come in a little bit cheaper than the ProTechs. I'm not entirely sure on that, don't quote me. However, everyone I spoke to who had ProTechs on there gave good reviews, so that's kind of the way I went with it. Now the ProTech ones are adjustable, so yeah, you have a dial on there. I've got the less expensive ones that have just the one adjustment in it rather than the bounce and return. But basically I started off on 4 clicks in. I think there's 12 or 14, I'm not sure. And they felt pretty basically like the GR2s that came off. So I guess that's the equivalent to a gas shock, an oil-filled shock. Still had the wheel hop issue, so then I clicked it to level 5. Wheel hop issue didn't change, felt a tiny bit stiffer obviously. 6 seemed to be a big change, so 6 felt a lot stiffer than 5. I don't know why, and that felt how I remember the GR2's feeling, so more like a gas shock kind of level of stiffness. Still had some wheel hop, so I kind of begrudgingly went up to 7 because I thought, oh, it's going to make it rock hard and horrible. To be fair, it kind of didn't feel much different to 6 in terms of how hard it was. However, it cured my wheel hop, or at least it has for now. There are, however, a couple of things can cause that as well as just the damper, so I'm just going to show you now underneath. And also if you're IRS'd or swing axle should be quite simple to bolt them on. However, you have to make a small modification if you're IRS'd like I am. I assume the standard bug IRS is the same as the Porsche 944 IRS setup which I've got, and so you have to modify the couple and I'll just show you. Before you run out to the shops and buy some expensive dampers, one of the first things you need to do is check you've got no movement in your spring plates. Obviously mine's an IRS setup, but the same applies for the swing axle ones as well. So basically when you launch, if you have any movement there and it jumps forwards, if it can move at all, that can start your wheel hopping. Any movement in this is controlled by the donut bush that's within your spring plate cover. On my covers are 944 ones that have been cut down, so obviously everyone's will vary, but the donut in there is what stops basically the spring from moving and stops the spring plate that's attached to it moving around as well. For my setup I can upgrade mine to urethane for about 80 quid online, so I suspect VW parts might be a bit touch cheaper. And then also if you're IRS'd like I am, at the front of the A-arm there you've got a bush, and you can upgrade that to urethane too. There is debate online as to whether that's something you should do or not, but so I'm not sure what I've decided on that one really yet. However, bear in mind if you are Porsche or Beetle IRS, the bolt that goes through it is a different size, so make sure you get the right bush basically, otherwise you'll be drilling it out. Right, this is the top of my ProTech damper. Now I've got to apologise for the muck and rear guys, but I use my car so I ain't cleaning it underneath the wings. Well, not regularly anyway. I went for rose joints on all my dampers. The reason is because it's been IRS'd. I'm relatively confident it was done really well, because it's not actually one of the jobs I did. However, it does allow for any slight misalignments if there are any. So there's no strain through the through the damper at all, and it doesn't cause premature wear in the bores of it. So say for the sake of a few quid, it's worth rose jointing, I think, and it just gives you a slight amount of movement in there. Okay, so the bottom of the damper, if you've got spring axle set up, is quite straightforward really, because you don't have this cup, so you should be able to access the adjuster quite easily. However, if you're IRS like I am, be it 944 or Beetle IRS, it may vary slightly, you've got a cup, and the cup is in the way of the adjuster, so it sits within it. So the first thing you have to do is centralise it. It's in a couple of washers within the cup itself. And then what I did is drilled a very nice, neat little hole I was very proud of in the centre there, so I could adjust the adjuster with a screwdriver. The problem is, once I did that, the cup, the adjuster, if you can see where it's scratched, was actually catching on the inside of the cup, so I couldn't adjust it anymore once it was off the jack, which is quite frustrating. And obviously, because I drilled the hole in the middle already, I couldn't then use a hole saw to make a nice, neat, bigger hole. So rather annoyingly, I had to cut this square monstrosity out, which I'm not proud of. However, it's functional. I'd say it doesn't catch at all anymore now, and I've got adjustable suspension at the turn of a screw, which is nice, other than the hot exhaust which you burn your arm on. Well, you've seen them before, so I guess all I can do now is show you what it's like when it's being fixed. I tested it in the same place, up a nice steep hill. Shows a good test for traction as well anyway. Yeah, and the results are pretty good.